Hello, everyone. Welcome to English Today Journey. I am very happy that you are here with me today. Thank you for taking the time to listen. If you enjoy learning English and growing as a person, please remember to subscribe for daily English tips and lessons. Your support means a lot. Today, we're going to talk about something very important. It is something that touches every one of us at some point in our lives. That topic is forgiveness. When you hear this word, you may already have some thoughts or feelings. Maybe forgiveness feels easy to you, or maybe it feels very hard. Perhaps someone hurt you deeply, and you are still carrying that pain. Wherever you are right now, I invite you to stay with me. Listen with an open heart. Give yourself time to think. This episode is not only about learning English. It is also about learning something that can bring more peace, more strength, and more freedom into your life. Forgiveness is not just an idea. It is a gift we can give to ourselves. All of us get hurt at times. People disappoint us. They break promises. They say words that hurt us deeply. Sometimes they do things that feel unfair or cruel. And if we are honest, we must also admit something important. We hurt other people too. Sometimes we do not mean to. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we say things without thinking and later feel sorry. This is part of being human. Life is full of moments like these. When we do not know how to deal with pain, we often keep it inside us. Over time, that pain becomes heavy. It affects our thoughts, our mood, and even our health. This is where forgiveness becomes important. Forgiveness helps us let go of that heavy pain. Imagine that you have been carrying a very heavy bag on your back for many years. Every day it makes you tired. Walking feels difficult. Even standing feels painful. Now, imagine taking that bag off and putting it down. You stand straight again. You feel lighter. You can move freely. That is what forgiveness feels like. It is also important to understand what forgiveness is not. Many people misunderstand forgiveness. Forgiving someone does not mean saying that what they did was right. It does not mean pretending nothing happened. It does not mean forgetting the pain. It does not mean trusting the person again or allowing them back into your life. And it does not mean that you are weak. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is strength. It is choosing peace over pain and freedom over anger. In fact, forgiveness takes great courage. It is not a weak choice at all. Forgiveness is one of the bravest decisions a person can make. Many people think forgiving is easy, but it is not. It takes strength to face pain instead of running away from it. It takes courage to let go of anger, even when you feel you have every reason to hold on to it. Forgiveness is not really about the other person. It is about you. It is about your healing. It is about your peace. It is about your freedom. When you forgive, you are choosing to care for your own heart. You are choosing to stop letting the past control your present. Of course, forgiving is not always easy. You might be thinking, what they did was too painful. It was too big. How can I forgive that? Or maybe you have tried to forgive before, but the anger and sadness keep coming back again and again. If that is how you feel, that is okay. There is nothing wrong with you. Forgiveness is not something that usually happens in one moment. Forgiveness is a journey. It is a path you walk step by step. Sometimes you take one small step forward. Sometimes you stop. Sometimes you feel like you are going backward. And sometimes you have to walk the same path again. All of this is normal. There is no need to rush. There is no perfect way to forgive. Every person's journey is different. Sometimes forgiveness means forgiving another person. Other times it means forgiving yourself. Many people forget about self-forgiveness, but it is just as important. We all make mistakes. We all say things we wish we could take back. Holding on to guilt and shame only keeps us stuck. When you forgive yourself, you allow yourself to grow and move forward. Forgiving does not mean someone wins and someone loses. It means you choose peace instead of pain. It means you choose freedom instead of anger. That is the real power of forgiveness. It gives you back control over your own life. As we continue together, I invite you to reflect for a moment. What does forgiveness mean to you? What might forgiveness look like in your life right now? Is there someone you need to forgive? Or is it yourself? Whatever your answer is, remember this. Forgiveness is not about letting someone else win. It is about you finally being free. So take a deep breath. Think about that heavy bag you have been carrying for so long. Imagine what it would feel like to put it down. By the end of this episode, I hope you feel inspired to take even one small step toward forgiveness. No matter how small it is, it matters. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. A gift of peace, healing, and freedom. Peace, strength, and freedom are what forgiveness can slowly bring into your life. So, let us take this journey together. Let us be honest with ourselves. Some things that happen in life are too big, too painful, and too hurtful to simply forget. And that is the truth. Trying to force yourself to forget does not really work. In fact, it often makes things worse. When we try to forget without healing, we push our real feelings deep inside. We tell ourselves, "It's fine. I'm okay." But inside, we are not okay. Those hidden feelings do not disappear. They stay inside us. Over time, they grow heavier and more painful. They affect our thoughts, our emotions, and even our bodies. That is why forgiveness is not about pretending that nothing happened. Forgiveness is not saying, "It's fine. No problem. Forget it." That is not forgiveness. That is pretending. Forgiveness also does not mean letting the person who hurt you escape responsibility. It does not mean saying, "You are free. You can do whatever you want." People are still responsible for their actions. They still have to face the results of their choices. They still have to deal with the consequences of what they did. Forgiveness does something very different. Forgiveness changes you. It changes what is happening inside your heart and inside your mind. It helps you stop carrying the heavy weight of anger, sadness, and bitterness. It allows your heart to rest. Let me give you a clear picture. Imagine you are carrying a very big and very heavy suitcase everywhere you go. At first you think, "I can manage this. It's not so bad." You keep walking. But day by day, step by step, it becomes harder. Your arms start to hurt. Your back feels tired. Every step feels heavier than the last one. After a while, you forget what it feels like to walk freely. You forget what it feels like to move without pain. That is exactly what holding on to emotional pain does to us. It makes life heavier. It makes simple days feel exhausting. It steals our energy and joy. Forgiveness is like finally putting that heavy suitcase down. It is like saying, "I do not want to carry this anymore. I am tired. I deserve peace. I deserve rest. I want to walk freely again." Forgiveness does not give a reward to the person who hurt you. It gives freedom to you. When you forgive, you are choosing yourself. You are choosing peace over pain. You are choosing healing over bitterness. You are choosing to move forward instead of staying stuck in the past. Forgiveness does not erase the past, but it frees your future. You do not have to forgive all at once. You do not have to feel ready today. Even the smallest step matters. Each small step helps you put the suitcase down little by little. And with time, your heart feels lighter. Your steps feel easier. And you remember again what it feels like to live freely. Forgiveness is best understood as a gift. But it is important to remember this. It is not a gift for the person who hurt you. It is a gift you give to yourself. When you forgive, you are not changing the past. The past has already happened, and no one can go back and change it, no matter how much we wish we could. What forgiveness really does is change your relationship with the past. It is a way of saying, "Yes, this happened. Yes, it hurt me deeply. But I will not let this pain control my life anymore. I will not let it decide how I feel today or who I become tomorrow." That choice is powerful. That choice is freedom. Let's look at forgiveness in another way. When we hold on to anger, resentment, or bitterness, it is like locking ourselves inside a mental prison. The door is closed, and we are trapped inside our own thoughts. We replay the same painful memories again and again. We relive the same hurt over and over. Even though the event is over, the pain feels alive inside us. Forgiveness is like unlocking that prison door. It is like stepping outside into fresh air and sunlight. Suddenly, you realize something important. You do not have to live inside that pain anymore. You still remember what happened, but it no longer controls you. You can breathe again. You can choose peace instead of suffering. Now, it is very important to be honest. Forgiveness is not easy. It is not a magic word that makes everything better in one moment. Sometimes forgiveness takes time. Sometimes it takes patience. Sometimes it takes support. You may need to talk with a trusted friend, a counselor, or spend quiet moments alone reflecting and healing. Sometimes the pain comes back even after you think you have forgiven. You may find yourself feeling angry again. That does not mean you failed. That is normal. Forgiveness is not a one-time event. It is a process. It is something we practice like a skill. And just like any skill, the more we practice it, the stronger we become. Many people also worry about boundaries. You might ask yourself, if I forgive, do I have to let this person back into my life? The answer is no. Forgiveness and trust are not the same thing. Forgiveness does not mean becoming friends again. It does not mean giving someone another chance to hurt you. It does not mean ignoring your own safety or feelings. You can forgive someone in your heart while still protecting yourself. You can forgive and still say, I need distance. You can forgive and say, I need healthy boundaries. Forgiveness frees your heart, but boundaries protect your well-being. Both are important. Forgiveness is not about forgetting or excusing the pain. It is about choosing peace. It is about choosing healing. It is about choosing yourself. When you forgive, you are not saying what happened was okay. You are saying, I deserve peace, and I choose to move forward. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is self-respect. Choosing to forgive means choosing to care for yourself. It means saying that your peace matters and your heart matters. Now, let's talk about something that can be even harder than forgiving others, forgiving yourself. Many people struggle with this. We look back at our past mistakes. We replay wrong choices again and again in our minds. We hear a harsh inner voice saying, why did I do that? Or I should have known better. These thoughts bring shame, guilt, and regret. Just like forgiving others, forgiving yourself is about putting down a heavy suitcase. It is about choosing not to punish yourself forever. It is about saying, yes, I made mistakes. Yes, I was wrong. But I will not stay stuck in the past. I will learn from this. I will grow. And I will move forward. Self-forgiveness is not about pretending your mistakes did not matter. It is not about excusing bad choices. It is about accepting the truth that you are human. And being human means making mistakes. That is how we learn. That is how we grow. No one becomes better without falling, failing, and trying again. So, remember this important truth. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It does not mean excusing what happened. And it does not mean weakness. Forgiveness means choosing peace instead of pain. It means giving yourself the gift of freedom. It means saying, I am human. I made mistakes, but I can learn. I can grow. And I can move forward. If we do not forgive ourselves, we stay trapped in the same mental prison we talked about before. We replay our mistakes over and over. We punish ourselves again and again. And none of us deserve that. We deserve freedom. We deserve to live without carrying shame and regret every single day. Think about this for a moment. If a close friend came to you and said, I made a mistake. I feel terrible about it. What would you say? Would you tell them they should suffer forever? Of course not. You would probably say, "You're human.
You can learn from this.
You can try again. You can move on." So why is it so hard to say those same kind words to ourselves? Forgiving yourself is simply treating yourself with the same compassion, patience, and understanding you would give to someone you love. As we continue this conversation, I invite you to pause and reflect. Are there beliefs about forgiveness that are holding you back? Do you believe forgiving means weakness? Do you believe you do not deserve forgiveness? These ideas can quietly keep us stuck. But the truth is this: forgiveness is not about being perfect. It is about being kind to yourself and choosing freedom over suffering. You deserve peace. You deserve healing. And you deserve a chance to move forward without chains from the past. Have you ever believed that forgiving someone means saying that what they did was okay? Or have you ever worried that if you forgive, people will think you are weak, foolish, or too soft? If you have felt this way, you are not alone. These thoughts are very common. Many people struggle with them, even if they never say it out loud. But here is an important shift I want you to understand. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is not foolishness. In fact, forgiveness is one of the strongest and most powerful choices a person can make. It takes real courage to let go of pain. It takes real strength to choose peace instead of bitterness. And it takes wisdom to understand something very important. When we refuse to forgive, we usually suffer more than the person who hurt us. So, let us continue this journey together and talk honestly about something many people feel but rarely explain. Why is forgiving so difficult? Forgiveness sounds beautiful when we talk about it. It looks good on paper. It sounds inspiring in speeches and quotes. But when it comes to real life, forgiveness can feel extremely hard. Maybe you have felt this yourself. In your mind, you know forgiveness could help you. You understand that holding on to anger only hurts you. You know it could bring peace. And yet, when the moment comes, your heart feels closed. You are not ready. So why is that? Why is forgiving so hard even when we know it could make our lives better? One big reason is the emotional weight of pain. When someone betrays us, lies to us, or deeply disappoints us, the feelings that follow are strong. Anger, sadness, fear, and hurt can stay with us long after the situation is over. These emotions do not simply disappear because time passes. Sometimes, holding on to anger feels safer than letting it go. Think about that for a moment. Have you ever held on to anger because it made you feel strong or protected? In a strange way, anger can feel like armor. It feels like a hard shell around your heart. You might tell yourself, "If I stay angry, I won't get hurt again." And at first, that anger might seem helpful. It might protect you for a short time. It might help you feel in control. But over time, that same anger becomes heavy. It tightens around your heart. It steals your peace. It makes life feel harder than it needs to be. Anger that is held too long does not just protect you. It also limits you. It affects your mood, your thoughts, and your relationships. It keeps you stuck in the past, even when you want to move forward. This is why forgiveness is so challenging. Letting go of anger feels like letting go of protection, even when that protection is slowly hurting us. Forgiveness asks us to be brave. It asks us to trust ourselves instead of our anger. It asks us to believe that we can protect ourselves with healthy boundaries, not bitterness. And that is not easy. But it is possible. Forgiveness does not mean opening yourself up to be hurt again. It means choosing healing over harm. It means choosing peace over pain. And step by step, it allows you to live without carrying so much emotional weight. You do not have to forgive all at once. Even understanding why it feels hard is already a powerful first step. Holding on to anger does not protect you forever. In the end, it actually locks you up. It keeps you stuck in pain and stops you from healing. This is one reason forgiveness can feel so hard. Another big reason forgiveness is difficult is pride. When someone hurts us, Our dignity feels attacked. We feel disrespected. Inside, we may think, why should I forgive them? They do not deserve it. Or we might think, if I forgive, people will see me as weak. Pride tells us to stand firm and hold onto our anger to prove that we are strong. But here's the truth. Real strength is not about holding grudges. Real strength is knowing when to let go. Forgiveness does not lower you or make you small. It actually lifts you up. It frees you from carrying pain that no longer serves you. Another thing that blocks forgiveness is perfectionism. Some of us expect ourselves and others to always do the right thing. We believe people should know better. We tell ourselves, I would never do that, or they should have been perfect. But the truth is simple and honest. No one is perfect.
Not you.
Not me. Not anyone. People make mistakes. They say the wrong things. They hurt each other, sometimes without meaning to. If we wait for perfection before we forgive, we will be waiting forever. Forgiveness begins when we accept that being human means being imperfect. Another powerful reason forgiveness feels scary is fear. Forgiving someone can feel like opening your heart again, even just a little, and that can feel dangerous. You might worry, what if they hurt me again? Or what if forgiving makes me look weak? These fears are real. They are normal, and they can stop us from forgiving. But here is something very important to remember. Forgiveness does not mean trusting blindly. Forgiveness and trust are not the same thing. You can forgive someone in your heart without letting them back into your life. Forgiveness is about your healing. Trust is about whether the other person has earned a place in your life again. Those are two very different things. You can forgive and still protect yourself. You can forgive and still say, I need space. You can forgive and say, I need distance. You can forgive and choose peace over chaos. Setting boundaries is not cruel. It is healthy. Forgiveness does not mean opening the door for someone to hurt you again. It means closing the door on anger, bitterness, and pain inside your heart. It means choosing calm over conflict within yourself. This balance is part of true strength. True strength is forgiving without forgetting your worth. It is letting go of anger while still honoring your need for safety and peace. Forgiveness is not about losing control. It is about taking your power back. It is about choosing healing over hurt and freedom over fear. And when you understand this, forgiveness becomes less frightening and more empowering. Our culture and our upbringing play a very big role in how we understand forgiveness. From a young age, we learn certain ideas about what forgiveness means, and those ideas stay with us as we grow older. In some cultures, forgiveness is seen as a sign of wisdom. People believe that forgiving shows spiritual growth, inner strength, and good character. In these cultures, forgiveness is respected and encouraged. But in other cultures, forgiveness is viewed very differently. People are taught to never forget and never forgive. Holding on to anger is often connected to ideas of honor, pride, or self-protection. In these places, forgiving someone may be seen as giving up power or allowing disrespect. These beliefs can make forgiveness feel dangerous or wrong. Our families also shape how we think about forgiveness. Maybe when you were growing up, you heard messages like, forgiveness is only for weak people, or forgiveness must be earned. Some people hear, you can forgive, but you must never forget, while others are told, you must forgive no matter what, even if it hurts you. When we hear these ideas again and again at home, in school, or in our communities, they become part of how we see the world. Some of these lessons help us. Others confuse us. And some of them quietly hold us back. So, if forgiveness feels hard for you, please remember this. You are not alone. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not weak or broken. There are many reasons why the human heart holds on to pain. At the same time, you always have the ability to choose a new path. And that path begins with honesty. Being honest with yourself is the first and most important step. Ask yourself gently, what is really stopping me from forgiving? Is it anger? Is it pride? Is it fear? Or is it a mix of all these feelings? The more honest you are with yourself, the easier it becomes to take small and gentle steps toward forgiveness. These steps do not have to be fast. They do not have to look like anyone else's journey. They only need to feel right for you. Now, let us talk about what happens when we hold on to grudges. When someone hurts us, we often think, I can't let this go. They don't deserve forgiveness. Or we may say, if I stay angry, I will stay strong. My anger will protect me from being hurt again. But here is the truth. Holding on to anger does not truly protect us. It does not make us stronger. In fact, it often hurts us far more than it hurts the other person. The person who hurt us may move on with their life, but we stay stuck carrying the pain. Anger does not live only in our thoughts. It also lives in our bodies. When we hold grudges, our bodies stay tense. Our muscles tighten. Our hearts race. Our sleep is disturbed. Stress builds up slowly and quietly. Over time, this stress can affect our health, our mood, and our energy. Holding on to resentment is like carrying a heavy weight inside your body every single day. It drains your strength. It steals your peace. And it keeps you tied to a painful moment from the past. Forgiveness does not change what happened, but it changes how much power that moment has over you. Choosing to forgive is choosing to release yourself from that burden. It is choosing healing instead of harm. And even the smallest step in that direction can begin to bring relief. Have you ever remembered something painful from the past and suddenly noticed your body reacting? Maybe your heart started beating faster. Maybe your shoulders felt tight. Maybe your stomach felt uneasy. Or maybe your whole body tensed up. That is your stress response. Your body reacts as if the danger is happening right now, even though it is only a memory. When we replay hurtful moments over and over and live in that tense state for a long time, our bodies begin to suffer. Anger and resentment are not only feelings, they affect our physical health too. People who hold grudges often experience anxiety, headaches, stomach problems, and trouble sleeping. Imagine lying in bed at night, thinking about the same painful memory again and again. Your body cannot relax. Your mind cannot rest. Over time, you feel completely drained, not just physically but emotionally as well. This is the real cost of holding on to anger. Let me share a story that shows this clearly. Maybe you will recognize yourself in it. There was a man who had a serious falling out with his brother. It all began with an argument about money. Voices were raised, harsh words were spoken, and both of them felt hurt. But neither was willing to take the first step to apologize. Later, when I asked the man if he thought he might forgive his brother, he said, "Never." What he did was unforgivable. And so, the years passed, and he carried that anger with him everywhere. Whenever his brother's name came up, his face tightened. His voice became sharp. You could see how much the pain still lived inside him. But here is the sad truth. His brother moved on. His brother built a life, a family, and did not carry the same anger anymore. The man, however, stayed trapped. His grudge did not hurt his brother nearly as much as it hurt him. This is what often happens when we hold on to anger. We think we are punishing the other person, but in reality, we are punishing ourselves. Every time someone mentioned his brother, you could see the tension rise in his face.
His voice would change.
Even when he laughed or talked about other things, there was a shadow of bitterness in him. He carried this invisible weight for years, and it affected his health, his relationships, and his happiness. Holding on to anger makes life heavier. It keeps us stuck in the past. It blocks us from peace and freedom. And the hardest part is, we often do not notice how much it is costing us until years later. This story reminds us of an important truth. Forgiveness is not about excusing someone else's behavior. It is not about saying that what they did was okay. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from the weight of anger, resentment, and pain. It is about choosing to stop punishing yourself for someone else's mistakes. It is about letting your body and mind heal so you can live fully in the present. Even taking small steps toward forgiveness can begin to lift this weight. Even imagining putting down the heavy suitcase of anger can bring relief. The first step is recognizing the cost of holding on, just as this man learned too late. The next step is deciding for your own sake that you deserve freedom from it. Whenever someone mentioned his brother, you could see the change in him immediately. His eyes would darken, his voice would grow sharp, and it was as if the argument had just happened yesterday. The pain was still very alive inside him, even though many years had passed. Meanwhile, his brother had moved on. He had let go of the anger. He had built a life for himself, a family, and he was not carrying the heavy weight of the past anymore. But the man stayed trapped in the memory. He could not let it go. The anger, the pride, and the refusal to forgive kept him locked inside a prison of pain. And slowly, this hurt began to affect other areas of his life. His relationships with other family members became strained because nobody wanted to take sides. Tension grew in family gatherings. He started having trouble sleeping. His stress levels stayed high. He carried the burden everywhere, even when he didn't realize it. What struck me the most was this. Deep down, he missed his brother. He longed for the relationship they once had. He wanted closeness, love, and connection, but his pride and anger kept him from taking even one small step toward reconciliation. I sometimes wonder, if he had chosen forgiveness earlier, how much happier, freer, and healthier his life might have been. This brings an important reflection for all of us. Ask yourself honestly, is that pain really worth carrying for so long? When we refuse to forgive, we often think that we are punishing the other person. But most of the time, the other person has already moved on. They may not even be thinking about us or the pain we are holding. It is us who keep replaying the memory. It is us who continue to suffer. The truth is, when we hold on to anger, we are punishing ourselves far more than anyone else. I am not saying forgiveness is easy. I am not saying that you should pretend nothing happened or forget that you were hurt. The hurt is real, and it matters. But it is also worth asking yourself honestly, what am I carrying right now? How is it affecting my life today? How is it affecting my happiness, my relationships, my health, and my peace? Resentment is like poison. When we hold on to anger, we think we are hurting the other person. But in reality, it is only harming ourselves. It steals our energy, our joy, and our ability to live fully in the present. It keeps us chained to the past. Every day we carry the grudge. Our hearts stay heavy. Our minds stay busy replaying the hurt over and over again. Now imagine putting down that heavy weight. Even just imagining it can bring relief. Your body could relax. Your mind could rest. Your heart could feel lighter. Your relationships might become easier. Your sleep might improve. Even small steps toward forgiveness can start this process. Forgiveness is not instant. It may take time, patience, and practice. It may not feel perfect at first, and sometimes you may need to try more than once. But every step you take toward letting go is a step toward freedom, a step toward peace, a step toward health, joy, and a life no longer controlled by anger. So, ask yourself, what might change in my life if I finally put down this heavy weight? How might I feel if I gave myself the gift of letting go, even just a little? That choice, however small, can begin to open the door to freedom, healing, and a life full of more peace. Even the very first small step toward forgiveness can make a difference. It can help you breathe more easily, sleep better at night, and feel lighter inside. And isn't that what we all truly want? To feel free, to feel at peace, and to live with an open heart. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting or excusing what happened. It means freeing yourself from the heavy weight of anger and pain. Now, you might be asking yourself, How do I actually start? How can I forgive when it feels impossible? Maybe the hurt runs very deep. Maybe the person who hurt you never said sorry. Maybe they don't even seem to care about what happened. Or maybe the memory keeps replaying in your mind, and just thinking about forgiveness makes you feel angry all over again. These feelings are completely normal. Forgiveness is one of the hardest things we are ever asked to do. It is never simple, especially when the wound is still fresh or when it has been with us for many years. But just like any difficult journey, forgiveness begins with small steps.
You do not have to do it all at once.
You do not have to force it. Think of it like climbing a mountain.
You take it one step at a time.
As the old saying goes, Rome was not built in a day, and the same is true for forgiveness. It takes time, patience, and gentle practice. And that is okay. Every small step counts. The very first step is to acknowledge the hurt. It may sound simple, but it is often one of the hardest parts. Why is that? Because sometimes we try to hide our pain, even from ourselves. We tell ourselves things like, "It's fine. I don't care. I'm over it. It doesn't matter anymore." But deep down, the hurt is still there, waiting to be noticed. Acknowledging your hurt means giving yourself permission to feel what you really feel. It means being honest with yourself, even when it is uncomfortable. You might need a quiet moment alone. You might want to write in a journal, or you might simply sit and reflect. Ask yourself gently, what exactly am I feeling? Is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it disappointment? Is it shame? The more clearly you can name your emotions, the easier it becomes to understand them. Understanding your feelings is important because it allows you to take the next step. You cannot start to forgive if you do not know what you are forgiving. Naming your emotions also helps you release some of the tension that comes with holding them inside. When you acknowledge your hurt, you are not saying it is okay what happened. You are simply facing the truth of your experience. You are telling yourself, this happened. I was hurt, and it is real. Once you acknowledge your pain, you create space for the next steps of forgiveness. You begin to see that forgiveness is not about the other person. It is about your peace. It is about your heart and your life. Step by step, moment by moment, forgiveness can grow. And even the smallest step, simply noticing your feelings, can start to lighten your heart and open the door to healing. Forgiveness is not instant. It may take hours, days, weeks, or even years. But every time you take a small step, every time you face your feelings instead of hiding them, you are moving toward freedom. You are taking a step toward breathing easier, sleeping better, and living with more peace. And that, in the end, is the true gift of forgiveness, one that you give to yourself. Once you acknowledge your feelings and begin to understand them, you can start to heal. This is the foundation of forgiveness. It's important to remember that forgiveness is not about excusing what happened or pretending it never mattered. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from the heavy weight of anger, hurt, and resentment. It's about reclaiming your peace, your health, and your joy. When you see this clearly, it can reduce some of the resistance and fear that often blocks us from forgiving. Let's take a moment to reflect. Think about a situation in your life where holding on to anger or resentment has cost you more than you realized. Maybe it has affected your sleep, your mood, or your relationships. Maybe it has kept you tense, anxious, or sad. Can you see how carrying this weight has hurt you more than anyone else? This reflection is not about blaming yourself. It's about noticing how your own life can improve when you begin to let go. Forgiveness can feel impossible at first. That is normal. At first, the idea of letting go might feel far away, like a distant mountain you are not sure you can climb. But even the tiniest step toward forgiveness is progress. And with time, what once felt impossible can slowly become possible. Forgiveness is like a journey. It begins with small, careful steps and grows gradually. Each step, no matter how small, opens your heart a little more. So, As you think about forgiveness in your own life, ask yourself a gentle question. What small step can I take today? It might be as simple as writing your feelings in a notebook so they are no longer trapped inside your mind. Or it might be speaking kindly to yourself instead of being harsh or critical. Maybe it is quietly setting an intention in your heart, whispering to yourself, I am ready to begin the journey toward forgiveness, even if I don't know exactly how yet. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. Great things take time, and forgiveness is no different. It does not happen all at once. It is built one step at a time, one choice at a time, and one breath at a time. Each moment you pause, reflect, or release a little anger, you are moving closer to freedom. You are choosing peace over pain, lightness over heaviness, and life over lingering in the past. Forgiving others does not mean giving them another chance to hurt you. It does not mean letting them back into your life immediately or lowering your boundaries. You can forgive in your heart while still protecting yourself. You can release the anger without trusting blindly again. This balance is part of true strength. Think of forgiveness as reclaiming your own life. It is a gift you give to yourself, not a reward for someone else. When you forgive, you are no longer carrying a heavy burden on your back. You are free to breathe, to love, and to live fully in the present. Even if the journey is slow, even if you stumble along the way, every small step matters. Each choice to forgive is a step toward peace, toward health, and toward the freedom you deserve. So start today. Take the first small step and let your heart begin to open. Every breath, every gentle choice, every quiet reflection brings you closer to a life where forgiveness is possible and where peace is your natural state once again. So far, we have talked a lot about forgiving other people, why it can feel so hard, and how we can begin the process. But there is another side of forgiveness that we often forget: forgiving ourselves. Sometimes, forgiving ourselves can be even harder than forgiving others. Think about it for a moment. When someone else hurts us, we can step back, create space, set boundaries, or choose not to let their actions control our feelings. But when the person who hurt us is ourselves, we cannot step away. We live with ourselves every single day. We carry our choices, our memories, and yes, sometimes our regrets. That makes self-forgiveness more complicated because we are both the one who is hurt and the one who caused the hurt. It can feel like carrying a very heavy weight that never goes away. One reason self-forgiveness is so difficult is self-doubt. After making a mistake, especially a big one, we often start asking ourselves painful questions. How could I have done that? Or, what kind of person am I? These questions can slowly eat away at our sense of self. Over time, we may begin to believe that our mistake defines us. Instead of saying, I made a bad choice, we start saying, I am a bad person. When we believe we are unworthy of forgiveness, forgiving ourselves seems almost impossible. Another reason is perfectionism. Many of us hold ourselves to impossibly high standards. We expect to always say the right words, make the right choices, be kind, wise, and never fail. But the truth is simple. Nobody is perfect. Every single human being makes mistakes. Every person has moments they wish they could take back. That is part of being alive. The problem comes when we expect perfection from ourselves. When we do, we leave no space for kindness, no room for compassion. We are often quick to forgive others when they make mistakes, but when it comes to ourselves, we are harsh and unrelenting. Then there's guilt and shame. When we make a mistake, guilt tells us we did something wrong, and shame tells us we are wrong. These feelings can feel unbearable and make it seem as though forgiveness is impossible. We punish ourselves mentally and emotionally for years, replaying the event in our minds, criticizing ourselves over and over. And the longer we hold on, the heavier the burden becomes. It begins to affect not just our mood, but our health, our energy, and even our relationships. Forgiving ourselves does not mean excusing our actions or pretending the mistake didn't happen. It does not mean we avoid learning or growing from it. Self-forgiveness is about acknowledging that we are human, that we made a choice we regret, and that it is okay to move forward. It is about putting down the heavy weight of self-criticism so we can breathe, live, and learn without being trapped in guilt. A helpful way to start is by speaking kindly to yourself. Imagine the compassion you would give a close friend who made a similar mistake. Would you tell them to punish themselves forever? Probably not. You would tell them they are human, that they can learn, grow, and try again. That same kindness should be offered to yourself. You might say, I made a mistake. I am learning. I can move forward. Start small. Even whispering these words to yourself is a step toward healing. Remember, self-forgiveness takes time and patience. It is a journey, not a single event. Some days will feel easier than others. Some days, the old feelings may return. That is normal. The important thing is to keep taking small steps, to keep practicing compassion toward yourself, and to keep choosing peace over continued self-punishment. Over time, forgiving yourself can open your heart, lighten your mind, and free you from a prison you may not even have realized you were living in. Sometimes, forgiving ourselves is the hardest part of forgiveness. Think about it. When someone else says something hurtful in a moment of anger or stress, we often comfort them. We might say, "It's okay. I know you didn't mean it." We give them patience and understanding. But when it is us who makes a mistake, we often replay it again and again in our minds. We criticize ourselves, punish ourselves, and expect ourselves to be better than human. That is why self-forgiveness feels so difficult. It requires us to remember that we are human, not perfect, and that making mistakes is part of life. Self-forgiveness means treating yourself with the same patience and care that you naturally give to the people you love. It does not mean pretending the mistake never happened. It does not mean excusing bad choices. It means understanding that your mistakes are actions you took, not the definition of who you are. It means learning from them and deciding that they will not control your future or keep you trapped in guilt. Think about it this way. Imagine a close friend comes to you feeling guilty about something they did. How would you speak to them? Would you shame them? Would you call them terrible or say they do not deserve forgiveness? Most likely you would not. You would listen carefully. You would show kindness. You would remind them that everyone makes mistakes. You would encourage them to learn, grow, and move forward. Now, imagine offering that same kindness to yourself. What would change if you spoke to yourself the way you speak to a dear friend? Self-forgiveness is about facing your mistakes honestly, learning from them, and letting go of the guilt that keeps you stuck. It might sound like saying, "Yes, I made a mistake. I am sorry. But this mistake does not define me. I am more than the worst thing I have done. I can learn, grow, and move forward." That simple statement can begin to lift the weight you have been carrying for years. Just like forgiving others, forgiving yourself is a process that takes time. It does not happen instantly. Some days, you may feel lighter and peaceful about your past. Other days, old feelings may return. That is normal. What matters most is the small daily choices, the gentle words you say to yourself, the moments when you pause instead of criticizing, the decisions to learn rather than punish yourself. Over time, these small steps build strength and open your heart. Self-forgiveness also requires letting go of impossible expectations. Many of us expect perfection from ourselves, but no one can reach it. Everyone fails sometimes. Everyone says or does things they regret. Accepting this reality makes space for compassion, understanding, and growth. It allows you to move forward without carrying shame or guilt as constant companions. Finally, remember that forgiving yourself is not weakness. It is courage. It is the bravery to face your own imperfections with honesty and kindness. It is the wisdom to stop punishing yourself for things you cannot change and to start creating peace in your mind and heart. It is the first step toward freeing yourself from a prison of guilt and regret and allowing yourself to live fully, and with an open heart. Forgiving yourself is not easy, and it may never feel complete. But every effort, every kind word you offer yourself, every moment you choose understanding over self-criticism is a step toward freedom, healing, and peace. Forgiving ourselves can be one of the hardest things we do. Often, the hardest person to forgive is the one we see in the mirror. We replay our mistakes over and over, punishing ourselves and feeling shame or regret. But here's the truth. Forgiveness, whether for others or for yourself, is a gift. It is a gift that brings freedom, peace, and healing. And you deserve that gift as much as anyone else. Ask yourself a gentle question. What would it feel like to truly forgive myself? What would I gain if I let go of self-blame and chose kindness instead? Even a small step in that direction can begin to change everything. Every time you choose compassion over self-criticism, you are practicing forgiveness, and that practice grows stronger with each effort. Forgiveness is not a one-time event. It is a habit, a practice, a way of living that helps you heal slowly over time. Small, steady actions make a real difference. Here are a few practical ways to start your daily forgiveness practice. 1. Journaling. 5 to 10 minutes writing helps you see your feelings clearly instead of keeping them trapped in your mind. You can use prompts to guide you. What happened, and how did it make me feel? What value was broken? Trust, fairness, respect? What did I learn, and what will I try differently next time? Journaling is a safe way to explore your emotions without judgment. It lets your feelings move onto paper and gives your mind space to process them. 2. Unscented letters. Write a letter to the person who hurt you, or even to yourself. You do not have to send it. The purpose is to release your feelings from your mind onto paper. Afterward, you can store it away or safely tear it up. This simple action can make a big emotional difference. 3. A short meditation. 3 minutes. You don't need to be perfect at meditation. Just sit comfortably, close your eyes if you wish, and focus on your breath. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6. On each exhale, silently say, I choose peace. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to your breath. This practice trains your mind to let go of tension and anger, even for just a few minutes each day. 4. Self-kindness phrases. Speak to yourself like you would to a close friend. You can say things like, I am doing my best with what I know now. I can learn from this. I release what I cannot control today. I am more than my mistakes. Repeating these phrases throughout the day reminds your heart that forgiveness is about nurturing, not punishing. The key is small, consistent steps. Forgiveness does not happen all at once. Some days you will feel lighter and freer. Other days, old feelings may return. That is normal. What matters is that you keep choosing compassion over self-criticism again and again. Over time, those small steps build strength, open your heart, and help you experience the freedom and peace that forgiveness brings. Remember, forgiving yourself is not weakness. It is courage. It is bravery. It is the choice to step out of the prison of guilt and pain and live with a lighter heart. Every small practice, every gentle word to yourself, every deep breath is a step toward freedom, healing, and lasting peace. Forgiveness is a practice, not a single act. It takes patience, small steps, and gentle habits. Here are 10 simple practices you can use to bring forgiveness into your daily life and create space for peace, both for others and for yourself. 1. The pause method. 30 seconds when a memory or trigger appears. Pause your reaction. Take a breath and notice what you feel: anger, shame, sadness. Naming your emotion gives it a place, instead of letting it control you. Then choose a helpful action, like taking 10 slow breaths, going for a quick walk, or writing one sentence in your journal. Small pauses help you respond instead of react. 2. Intention setting. 10 seconds each morning begin your day with a tiny mindset shift. Say to yourself, "Today I am willing to take one small step toward forgiveness." You do not have to feel fully ready. Willingness is enough. Each morning, this simple intention reminds your heart that progress matters more than perfection. 3. Boundaries that protect your peace. Forgiveness does not mean giving unlimited access to someone who hurt you. You can say, "I'm not ready to discuss this right now. I need space to heal." Healthy boundaries are part of forgiveness. They reduce the chance of being hurt again while you heal. 4. Perspective practice. 2 minutes step back and imagine the situation as if you were watching a movie. What fears, needs, or struggles might each person have? Understanding does not excuse behavior, but it softens anger and allows you to breathe. Perspective opens a path to empathy and calm. 5. Gratitude anchor. 1 minute each evening, write down 3 small things that were good today. Gratitude does not erase hurt, but it balances your attention and builds emotional resilience. Over time, this habit helps your mind notice light alongside the pain. 6. If then planning for triggers. Think ahead about moments that might bring up pain. Plan your response in advance. If I remember a hurtful moment, then I will take 10 breaths and write 2 sentences. If I see their name or photo, then I will step outside, breathe deeply, and repeat, "I choose peace." Preparing responses keeps you calm when old memories arise. 7. Weekly reflection. 10 minutes once a week. Review your journey. Ask, what helped me this week? What still hurts? What is one gentle step I can take next week? Weekly reflection helps you see your progress, honor your emotions, and plan small, realistic actions forward. 8. Journaling and letters. Writing your feelings down, whether in a journal or an unsent letter, moves emotions out of your head and gives them space to be processed. You don't have to show these writings to anyone. The act of expression itself is freeing. 9. Short meditation. 3 minutes, sit comfortably and focus on your breath. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6, silently saying, "I choose peace" on each exhale. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to your breathing. Even brief moments of stillness help your heart release tension. 10. Self-kindness phrases. Speak to yourself with the same care you would offer a friend. "I am doing my best with what I know now. I can learn from this. I release what I cannot control today. I am more than my mistakes." Repeating these phrases strengthens self-compassion and reinforces forgiveness. A gentle reminder: you do not need to do everything at once. Pick one small practice today, one breath, one sentence, one kind word. Your heart learns by practice. Step by step, you will feel lighter. Step by step, freer. Step by step, you will remember that peace is possible for you. Forgiveness is not about forgetting or excusing. It is about reclaiming your life and giving yourself the gift of freedom. Meditation doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to sit for hours or try to empty your mind completely. Even 5 or 10 minutes a day can make a big difference. Find a quiet spot, sit comfortably, and focus on your breathing. Notice the air moving in and out. As you breathe slowly, you can repeat a gentle phrase in your mind, like, "I choose peace," or "I let go of anger." This simple combination of calm breathing and kind words helps bring you back to the present moment. Meditation reminds us that forgiveness isn't only about the past or future, it's about what we choose right now. Each breath is an opportunity to soften your heart and let go, even just a little. Talking with someone you trust is another helpful practice. It could be a close friend, a family member, or even a therapist. Speaking your thoughts out loud can make them feel lighter. Sharing your feelings doesn't mean the listener has to fix everything. Often, just having someone hear you without judgment is enough. They might offer a new perspective or simply hold space so you feel less alone. Either way, being heard can bring comfort, relief, and a sense of healing. Reframing is another powerful tool for daily forgiveness. Reframing means looking at a situation from a different angle. For instance, instead of thinking, "They hurt me on purpose," you could consider, maybe they acted out of their own pain or confusion. Or if you tell yourself, "I can never forgive myself for what I did," you can reframe it as, "This was a mistake, but I can learn from it and avoid repeating it." Reframing is not about excusing anyone's behavior, yours or someone else's. It's about opening your perspective so you can find more compassion for both others and yourself. Another small but effective practice is journaling. Writing down your thoughts and feelings helps move them out of your head and onto paper. You can write about what happened, how it made you feel, and what you wish had been different. Journaling also works for self-forgiveness. Note what you learned from a mistake and how you want to act differently next time. You don't have to share your writing with anyone. The act of writing alone can bring clarity, calm, and release. Even tiny daily habits add up. Simple things like pausing before reacting, taking a few deep breaths when a memory appears, or speaking kind words to yourself can make a real difference. Over time, these small actions create a pattern of healing. They remind you that forgiveness isn't about forgetting or excusing. It's about giving yourself the chance to feel lighter, freer, and more at peace. Finally, remember that forgiveness is a journey. Some days will feel easier than others. Some moments might bring old pain back, and that's normal. What matters is choosing compassion toward yourself and others again and again. Each small step, each gentle breath, and each kind thought is part of building a life where peace is possible. Forgiveness grows slowly, like a plant, when nurtured with patience, awareness, and self-care. With practice, your heart learns to let go of anger and embrace freedom, one moment at a time. Forgiveness is something we all struggle with, but it's also something we can practice every day. Most people, including ourselves, usually do the best they can with what they know at the time. Understanding this can help us let go of some of the anger and frustration we feel toward others, and even toward ourselves. Forgiveness isn't about excusing someone's actions or pretending that pain didn't happen. It's about freeing your heart, letting go of the weight that holds you back, and choosing peace for yourself. Forgiveness isn't a new idea. Across many cultures and traditions, it has always been seen as sacred and healing. In Judaism, there is Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, when people reflect on their actions over the past year, ask for forgiveness, and offer forgiveness to others. In Islam, during the holy month of Ramadan, people are encouraged to release anger and grudges, seek forgiveness from God, and make peace with others. These practices show that forgiveness is not just personal, it affects the people around us, strengthens our communities, and helps us live with more peace. The good news is that forgiveness doesn't have to be a huge, dramatic moment. It doesn't have to happen all at once, and you don't need the perfect moment to start. Forgiveness is something you practice in small steps, little by little. These small steps might seem minor at first, but over time, they truly change the way you experience life. One small step could be writing your feelings down in a journal. Giving your thoughts a safe place to go can lighten the burden in your mind. Another step could be taking a few minutes to breathe deeply and repeat a calming phrase like, "I choose peace," or "I let go of anger." You might have an honest conversation with someone you trust, or simply allow yourself to think one kind thought about yourself or about the person who hurt you, even if you're not ready to forgive fully yet. Each small act of forgiveness matters. Each gentle choice to lean toward peace begins to reshape how you carry pain. Little by little, the burden becomes lighter. Over time, these small practices build a habit. When practiced regularly, forgiveness starts to feel more natural, and your heart slowly learns to release the anger and resentment it has held on to. This process isn't about rushing yourself or forcing a dramatic change. It's about patience and consistency. One day, it might be a few minutes of meditation, the next day a kind word to yourself, or a tiny step toward understanding someone else. Each of these choices helps your heart heal. The small steps add up, and soon forgiveness becomes part of your life. Not because the other person has changed, but because you have chosen to take care of your own peace. Remember, forgiveness is a practice. It is gentle, it takes time, and it is worth every effort. Day by day, choice by choice, breath by breath, you can learn to let go of the pain that holds you back. Over time, these little acts will transform your heart, bringing freedom, lightness, and peace that you deserve. Forgiveness isn't a single event, it's a lifelong journey, built one small step at a time. Forgiveness can feel impossible at first, but over time it can become natural and peaceful. The key is to start small. Ask yourself, what small step can I take today to practice forgiveness in a way that feels real to me? Forgiveness isn't about changing the past. The past has already happened. Instead, it's about creating a lighter, freer future for yourself and the people around you. Choosing to forgive is always a choice, and it can bring powerful changes inside you. At first, the changes may be subtle, almost too quiet to notice. It might feel like a soft breeze passing through, gentle and fleeting. But if you keep choosing forgiveness, those small shifts grow stronger. Slowly, your heart begins to feel lighter. The heavy weight you've been carrying, anger, regret, sadness, starts to lift. Imagine carrying a backpack full of stones. Every step feels heavier because of the load. Each act of forgiveness is like removing one stone. With each stone you release, your steps become easier. Your body feels freer, your spirit feels lighter, and one day you realize you are walking without the burden that once weighed you down. That lightness of heart is one of the greatest gifts forgiveness can bring. Forgiveness also changes the way we relate to other people. When we release old grudges, we make room for kindness, patience, and understanding. This doesn't mean forgetting what happened or allowing harmful people back into your life. Boundaries are still necessary, but forgiveness helps you stop letting past pain control how you interact with others in the present. Think about how holding on to anger toward one person can spill into every part of your life. Maybe it makes you less patient with your family, less trusting with friends, or more easily irritated at work. Carrying grudges spreads the weight across all areas of life. Letting go of that anger allows your mind and heart to rest. It gives you more energy, more patience, and a clearer view of your relationships. Forgiveness also helps you forgive yourself. Often, the hardest person to forgive is the one in the mirror. We replay our own mistakes, criticize ourselves, and feel unworthy of kindness. But self-forgiveness is about remembering that making mistakes is human. Your errors do not define you. You can learn from them, grow, and move forward. Treat yourself with the same patience and compassion you would offer a close friend. Every small choice to forgive, whether toward yourself or others, builds over time. Maybe today it's writing your feelings in a journal. Maybe it's taking a few minutes to breathe and repeat a gentle phrase like, "I choose peace," or "I let go of anger." Perhaps it's setting a small boundary or offering yourself one kind thought. Each step matters. Each act of forgiveness lightens the load you carry, softens your heart, and opens space for joy and connection. Over time, these small steps create a lasting change. You may not notice it immediately, but one day you will. You'll look back and see that something that once felt impossible now feels natural. You'll walk through life lighter, freer, and more open. You'll treat yourself and others with greater patience and understanding. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, one small choice at a time. By practicing it every day, you create a life where peace, freedom, and lightness are possible, and you deserve that gift. Holding on to pain from one relationship can quietly affect every part of your life. You might become impatient with friends, quick to judge strangers, or even distant with family. The anger or hurt you carry doesn't just stay in one place. It spreads like a chain reaction. But forgiveness can stop that cycle. When you choose to forgive, You open the door to healthier, warmer connections, not only with the person you forgive, but with everyone around you. You start to trust more, listen more, and love more fully. Forgiveness doesn't just fix one relationship, it changes the way you connect with the world. Another powerful gift of forgiveness is peace of mind. Staying angry is exhausting. Think about all the hours spent replaying arguments in your head, the restless nights, the tension that settles into your shoulders, jaw, or chest. Anger drains your energy and steals your joy. Forgiveness breaks that cycle. It allows you to return to the present moment and enjoy simple pleasures again, feeling the warmth of the sun on your face, laughing with a friend, or sipping a quiet cup of tea. When you let go of the past, these small moments become easier to notice and savor. The peace that comes from forgiveness is a kind of freedom that fills both your heart and mind. Let me share a story to show what this can look like in real life. There was a man named Daniel who carried deep anger toward his father for many years. When Daniel was a child, his father was harsh and distant. Instead of affection, Daniel experienced criticism and coldness. These wounds followed him into adulthood. Even after his father passed away, Daniel's anger stayed alive inside him like a fire he could not put out. He believed that forgiving his father would mean pretending everything was okay. But in his heart, he knew it wasn't. His pain was real, and he didn't want to dishonor it by pretending otherwise. Over time, Daniel realized something important. The anger he had been holding onto for so many years was hurting him far more than it hurt anyone else. It affected his health, his relationships, and even his sense of happiness. Every time he thought about his father, he felt tension, resentment, and sadness, even when there was no reason for it in that present moment. Daniel began to understand that forgiveness wasn't about saying what happened was acceptable. It wasn't about forgetting or excusing the past. Instead, forgiveness was about freeing himself from the weight he had been carrying for decades. When Daniel made the choice to forgive, something shifted inside him. The anger began to loosen its grip. He could remember the past without reliving the pain in every moment. He still acknowledged that what happened was wrong, but he no longer let it control his life. Forgiveness gave him room to breathe, to rest, and to enjoy the present. It also opened space for him to connect with others without carrying the shadow of old hurt. His relationships became calmer and kinder. He even found himself more patient, more compassionate, and more able to experience joy without guilt or tension. This is the heart of forgiveness. It's not about excusing bad behavior. It's not about saying the pain didn't matter. It's about choosing peace for yourself. When we forgive, we stop allowing the past to rule our present. We reclaim our energy, our joy, and our freedom. And like Daniel, we can learn that forgiveness doesn't dishonor our pain. It honors it by allowing us to grow beyond it. Each small step toward forgiveness, whether it's forgiving others or ourselves, is a step toward a lighter, freer, and more peaceful life. Carrying anger and resentment can quietly affect every part of your life. It can strain your marriage, your friendships, and even your ability to enjoy simple pleasures. Daniel felt this deeply. The anger toward his father had followed him for decades, and it weighed on his heart, making life feel heavier than it needed to. One day, while walking alone and reflecting, he made a quiet decision. He said to himself, "I cannot change the past, but I can choose to stop letting it control me." Forgiveness didn't happen all at once for Daniel. It didn't come in a single dramatic moment. Instead, it arrived slowly, step by step, through small, deliberate actions. He began by writing in his journal, pouring out all the hurt, anger, and sadness he had been carrying for years. He gave his feelings a safe space to exist on paper, where they could be acknowledged without judgment. He also reached out to a trusted friend, speaking openly about what he felt and letting someone else hear his story. And importantly, he began speaking gently to himself, offering small words of kindness, reminding himself that letting go was possible, even if it felt difficult. Each tiny step started to make a difference. The heavy anger inside him began to soften. The tension that had lived in his shoulders, chest, and mind began to ease. He felt lighter, calmer, and more at peace than he had in years. Slowly, a sense of happiness returned, one that had seemed impossible before. Daniel realized that forgiveness doesn't erase the past. What happened is still real, but it changes the way we live in the present and move toward the future. Forgiveness opens doors that anger and resentment keep closed. It allows us to move forward without being chained to old pain. It changes how we see the world and how we relate to others. We begin to approach life with a softer heart and gentler eyes. We are no longer prisoners of old hurts. Instead, we can engage fully with life, love more freely, and connect more deeply with those around us. Forgiveness also creates space for joy. The little things, walking in the sun, laughing with friends, enjoying quiet moments, become richer because our hearts are not weighed down. The beauty of forgiveness is that it is a choice. It isn't about letting someone else win or excusing what they did. It is about letting yourself win. It is choosing peace over pain, freedom over bitterness, hope over regret. And while forgiveness can be slow and sometimes difficult, every small step matters. A kind word to yourself, a moment of reflection, a gentle release of old anger, these are all victories on the path toward healing. Over time, these small steps add up, transforming your life in ways that may surprise you. So, take a quiet moment to reflect. Who do you need to forgive? Is it someone else? Or is it yourself? What small step could you take today to let go of even a tiny piece of that weight? Perhaps it's writing your thoughts down, speaking to someone you trust, or simply breathing deeply and saying, "I choose peace." Even the smallest step is meaningful. With patience and persistence, forgiveness can grow, one gentle action at a time. By choosing forgiveness, you choose freedom. You choose a lighter heart. You choose a life where joy, love, and peace have room to grow. And that, more than anything, is worth striving for.